Welcome to Between Heaven and Earth, an internet radio talk show where we help you connect spirit and divine guidance. Lisa Kay, your host, brings you shows that can enhance and transform your life with tips and new ideas for more happiness, abundance, and better relationships. Lisa is an expert on intuition and can show you how to strengthen your inner guidance to empower yourself. Each show is positive and uplifting to inspire your day. Her guest speakers are specialists on self-help, positive thinking, spirituality, and conscious living. Be the best that you can be with Between Heaven and Earth, conscious living for your soul.
And pushed to your limit. You might feel like you're not doing enough because you don't have enough time and you're overwhelmed with commitments. There never seems to be enough moments of self-care, personal enjoyment, and individual reward. As Dr. Jaime Kulaga puts it, we are on the Ferris Wheel that keeps us stuck going round and round. And Jaime shows women how to achieve balance between life and work and be personally fulfilled. Dr. Kulaga is a nationally known mental health expert and has distilled the step-by-step strategies to get there. So let me tell you a little bit about my guest, Dr. Jaime Kulaga, first. She is a licensed mental health counselor, certified professional coach, inspirational speaker, and entrepreneur. She is a frequent mental health expert on TV and has been featured on Forbes.com, on Maria Shriver's blog, and in Glamour, Self, and Prevention magazines for her expertise in work-life balance and life fulfillment. Dr. Kulaga's passion is to motivate others to live their best life. She coaches individuals, couples, and business people and teaches at the university level. She is the author of The SuperWoman's Guide to Super Fulfillment, Step-by-Step Strategies to Create Work-Life Balance. Her successful SuperWoman workshops empower women to make better decisions, steer the course of their lives, and use practical tools to find deeper fulfillment and happiness. Welcome, Jaime. I'm so excited you're on the show.
Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. In our busy lives, this is like the perfect book, and it came at the perfect time because I feel like the last couple of years for me, I've been just basically running, and between myself and my being working at home, being a stay-at-home mom, at the same time being an entrepreneur, which I'm sure you can identify with, and having an older son who's busy with his thing as well as my husband who's also super busy. So I this is like a perfect topic. So I wanted to start off with asking you, how did you begin to write this? Why did you write this book? Did you find a lot of super women around you having issues?
You know, it's interesting that you say that. Yeah, so personally me, and then the short answer is my clients. What had happened is I was coaching clients on a national level, so all around the country. But no matter where in the country they were, I noticed they all had one thing in common, and that was that they wanted workshops on work-life balance. So I began looking for them, right? I'm checking Miami, I'm checking LA, I'm checking New York, I'm checking all these hot spots, but I couldn't find exactly what they were looking for various different reasons. At that point, I created the Superwoman workshops. And it was in those workshops that I saw such success between the women. They were forming lasting relationships, that bond we all look for as women. They were teaching each other how to say no and not feel guilty about it. At that point, I bundled their successes, my knowledge and experience, and now we have the international book, The Superwoman's Guide to Super Fulfillment.
It's international. I know. Just before the show, you were telling me it's might be out in Hungary.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So right now it's in India. I'm working with Germany right now, and hopefully.
Oh, how exciting!
Yeah, it's great.
It's great. And you know what I love about the book is it really is almost like a pocket guide. It just fits nicely in your hand. It reads so easily, and it gets right to the point. And you know, one of the things that you start out with is you talk about what are your top life roles. So since I gather it's in the beginning of the book, which is important. So could you talk to us a little about what a life role is?
Absolutely. So whether you're reading the book or you come to a coaching session with me, the most important thing that we need to do is prioritize. And that falls under knowing your life roles. So I challenge everybody out there to create a list of all of your life roles. And these are things that you do that take your time and energy on a daily basis, whether you like it or not. So it's spouse, it's mother, it's caregiver, it's employee, but it's also dog walker, therapist to negative Nancy in the office, family CPA, whatever it might be. You create a list of all of these things, right?
I love that. Yeah, that's me. I do all the bills in the house, and I actually deal with all the contractors. I think one of the things that we probably don't realize as women or housewives are, taking care of the home, and a lot of women, I think, work and also do the things at home. Maybe things are shifting a little bit, but it seems like there are more things that women do at home than sometimes men. I don't know whether that's still the case, but it seems to be. So are there roles that people that you've run into that women have had that they didn't realize it was a role?
Yeah, I mean, just like little things that we do, like the laundry doer, the grocery shopper, like these things have to get done because we need to eat and we need clean clothes so we don't stink every day, right?
Right.
And
right.
so,
How about the pantry filler, the one who always makes sure there's soap in the soap dish? And
yeah.
And there's always toilet paper then when you need it. It's like, that kind of thing. And I guess, is it because we're nurturers that we end up taking on more of those kinds of things? Why is that?
I think it goes back to way back in the day when men were working and women were, at home. The truth is yes, times have changed, but at the same time, we never gave up our first role. It's not like we said, okay, times have changed. We no longer are in the home. We're only in the workforce. No, now we've put ourselves into two different segments. And that's why it's important to know your priorities, because that list that you make, all you superwomen out there, when you make this list and the average woman has between 15 to 25 life roles, I want you to circle 5 of them and only your top 5. However, the catch is you need to be on that list. So you'll have me and then you'll have 4 more. And the importance of these life roles, and this is the most important thing to note about life roles, is that when you are in the moment with those roles, you need to give 100% dedicated time. So many people out there might be like, are you crazy, Dr. Jamie? There's no way I can give 100% because I still have to do the laundry and I still am the family CPA, etc. But the truth is that dedicated time is that whole quality versus quantity. No longer do we have to give quantity to our life roles. Let's start refocusing to get our time back, get our energy back, make our life roles happy. Because the truth is when those life roles are in balance, everything else in your life seems balanced, right? Because if you're fighting with the husband or the kid is sick, doesn't that throw your whole world off? Absolutely.
So how do you give the 100% to the 5 roles? Obviously, you can't do 100% to every role all at once. So are you like setting time aside for each one and you give 100% at that time, or how do you do that?
Absolutely. Let me give you an example of how that works. So instead of giving 4 hours to your children while you're, on the internet and you're doing work and you're fighting with the husband, you're cleaning the house, get on the floor and play Thomas the Train with them. Just this morning, I used this. This morning, I woke up and I had a list of work that I needed to get done today. Things for my teaching, things for the SuperWoman workshops. I've got stuff going on. My kids are off of school today. So what I did is I said, I'm going to start my morning by making my kids my priority. I went downstairs. We made breakfast together. We sat at the table. We ate breakfast together. We talked about the fun things that we're going to do tonight and how exciting it is that they're off school. And after about 35 or 40 minutes, I said, okay, boys, I'm going to go upstairs and mommy's going to start working now. Okay, mom.
You see, but that's good because you were able to go, okay, now I'm finished and I have to go and do the next slice of time. What do you say to people who they can't, you sit down and you do one thing and then you get distracted, you do something else and you remember that and you got to do over that, and, something, and you're just like all over the place. How do you not do that?
Yeah, and that happens to me. I mean, even today when I said, okay, because I gave 100% to my kids, now they're accepting that I step away. I go and I start my work. Well, I know that I owe it to my family and I owe it to my job and I owe it to everything that I do to sit down and focus. But when I'm focused on, let's say I was doing something with the SuperWoman workshops and I need an hour of dedicated time, I owe it that time. But that doesn't mean my mind's not working. I still was like, oh my God, that's right. I got to send that thing out through Constant Contact. Oh my God, that's right. I forgot to call that. So I have a little piece. It was horrible. It was like, draining. So I get it as a business owner and as a busy woman, but I have my planner open next to me. And when that idea comes, I don't jump to act on it, but I do jump to write it down.
Okay, so there's a discipline there, and that's really important. I found, actually, one of the things I found that helps me, because I have to work on this myself, is I use an app. There's an app called A Tracker, which is kind of cool. And what it does is you put in like the category of thing that you're working on. So if it's work, or if it's children, or if it's housework, and then it will actually start the time that you're working on that, and then it kind of, what it does is it keeps you on track, because you go, okay, I'm going over and I'm doing, I'm starting to do the housework, but I'm not supposed to be doing that right now. I'm working on my work right now. So I guess there's some kind of tools, but I love that. I think it's so important to be able to stay focused and not move on to something else. Do you find that you're able to do more or less, because now you're only picking 5 out of the 15?
Right. No, I'm absolutely being able to do more of my 15 or 25 because I've saved my time. Because when you get distracted, you're going off and then you're coming back to the work and you're like, okay, where was I again? Where am I at? Okay. And that takes time. And so I'm focused. I get my stuff done more concentrated, more quickly. And I have time for other things, including not just those 15 things, but I'm now able to give to myself. So I notice I'm able to work out more, and that's something that's important to me. I notice that I've had more time on the weekends to do boating with the family. You actually get
so you
time back.
Actually get more time for things that you really want. I think that's really awesome. So you went from 15, go down to 5, and then you get more. Yeah, that's great. Yes. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go to break.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
And then we'll be back.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Matt Connerton here. Join Jen Coffey and I twice a week for Matt Connerton Unleashed, a political talk show that's a little different than what you're used to. No liberal or conservative agenda here, just an honest dialogue about truth and how things really work in the world of politics. Matt Connerton Unleashed, every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Hello, I'm Miriam Knight of New Consciousness Review, inviting you to my new show where I interview the rising stars of the conscious awakening. We'll explore the many faces of consciousness and action and intriguing perspectives on life, the universe, and everything in between. Join us each Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern on the Rising Stars Show.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
And we're back. You're listening to Between Heaven and Earth, and I'm Lisa Kay, your host, and I'm here with Dr. Jaime Kulaga, who's talking to us about the steps and strategies that you can use to help you create this work-life balance. And particularly as women, we're always, it seems a historical thing that women take on quite a bit, and now that women are working, you not only do you do the nurturing, the things at home and taking care of the kids, but you're also doing work. And especially for those of us who are out there doing entrepreneur work or just regular life work. So I wanted to go on, Jaime, and talk to you about what happens. Oftentimes I think particularly women who are trying to be superwomen end up partnering or marrying supermen. And so, and my husband's like that. He's like unbelievable. Let me tell you a little bit about the way his life works. He pushes time to the limit. He is very good at focusing, but he has so much in his life in terms of work, doing things at home, helping out with shopping or with his exercise and things like that. But he's so busy that he has very little time for anything else. So how do you kind of balance the two out when your husband's so busy?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think it comes back to a little bit of what we talked about earlier, which is the quality versus quantity. So, when you're both raising a family and running businesses, it's true, you don't have very much time. So enjoy the time that you have together. So making the most of, if the kids are down at 9:30 and you two can have 45 minutes alone, instead of just passing out, getting to the bed and passing out, maybe spend that time together, whether it's watching TV or all the way to making love. If you could just enjoy that time together. When you go out on a date, that's not the time to hash out everything about the business. That's not the time to, how are we going to help little Johnny raise his grades? That's not the time to do that. That's the time to focus on you two and your future and getting excited together about that present moment. So making the most of the situation.
So when you do all that, I mean, one of the things that we run into is sort of feeling guilty. So we're, I guess, unusual in some respect in that we only have one child. So what we find is that if we're going to go out for dinner, we feel guilty about leaving him home alone. Or leaving him home, he's old enough to be home alone now. He's 17. But, it's like, we'll bring him along. And, or if we're going out, it's like, and he likes to come with us. So how do you deal with the guilt?
First off, you give your son dedicated time, okay? So just like I did with the boys earlier, I said, hey, listen, you're important to me. I've given you my attention, but now there's something else I have to focus on. So they're more accepting of it. You can walk away guilt-free because that they're more accepting because you've given them that quality time.
So they're okay. So they're not like, you don't care anymore.
No, and when he's 17, he's probably thinking in his head, Mom, when are they going to stop inviting me?
It's really funny. I mean, sometimes, certainly he's definitely like that. But the thing is, we'll go out to a really nice place to eat, and then sometimes we'll say, okay, well, we're planning to do dinner on this day, and he'll say, oh, are you going alone? Like, where are you going? Because he wants to go.
Yeah. And speaking up for your marriage, okay? Kids they get in the middle, but the truth is your spouse is very important. Your kids are going to march on. And you're going to be there with your spouse, so you want to have that very strong relationship.
I think that's really important. What you just said is standing up for your marriage, and I think what's even more important is standing up for not your marriage, your romantic life, your love life, and you yourself as a woman, and that you have your own time for yourself. But I think I think it's interesting how we maybe as wives, it's easier to push, and even as parents, I think, to push away your marriage or your couple time.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is. That's the first thing that gets put aside, and I see couples in my office that struggle with that. I've seen cases of infidelity due to that because the man feels that he's on the back burner, and that's why I really encourage you to give that dedicated time to your spouse, to your children, speaking up for your marriage. There's a couple great books. So after you read the best book in the world, which is The Superwoman's Guide to Super Fulfillment, followed by that book. There is two really great books for marriage. And the first one is by Gary Chapman. It's called The 5 Love Languages. And the second one is called The Love Dare. And it's 40 days of dares that you do with your spouse. So you read 3 pages, and then the last page is a dare. And within that next day, you have to do this dare with your spouse. It's an awesome book.
Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to put it on our Facebook page for everybody. It's facebook.com. / Between Heaven and Earth. So I'm going to write these in. It's Gary Chapman, Chapman.
Yep, the 5 love languages.
The 5 love languages, and then
the
love dare. Okay, we'll put that in. So I'll write that. And then I guess, so let's see, that triggered a question in my head, which kind of left me for the moment. But, I did want to ask you about getting into perfectionism and how that can kind of rob you of getting things done.
Yeah.
And so how do you deal with that?
Yeah, that's intense. Yeah, because it's hard to answer that because all women are perfect. So
Oh, we try to be. That's why we're perfectionists, because it's not good enough yet.
No, but yeah, perfection definitely hurts your success. That's because perfection is subjective. So what is perfect to you is not perfect to me and is not perfect to him or her, and so on and so forth. So as you're striving for this thing that you want in life, it's never quite good enough. And that's quite exhausting. It's energy draining and it's confidence reducing. And then when you get close to whatever it is you desire, and maybe there's a time limit, maybe it's being ripped from you because, there's a deadline. You just say, okay, take it over. And then people are like, wow, this is great. But you don't even stop to celebrate that success. You just jump to the next mountain. Or right before you get there, that's when you're like, okay, let me tweak this. Let me edit this. Let me change this. And nothing is ever good enough. And to take risk in life, to move to the next level, to find fulfillment, you have to have confidence. And a perfectionist actually drains their confidence because they're just running and running.
And you're always thinking that it's not good enough and that it's wrong. And, I think also maybe being accepting of, okay, there was a little typo in that. No big deal. Nobody notices.
Yeah, exactly. And we're so overly critical. And another really dangerous aspect of perfectionism is that that habit and way of thinking, because now it becomes self-talk. Oh, I'm not good enough. I didn't do that. I didn't do this. I'm missing this. Actually rolls into relationships, and you can burn bridges because you start finding that you say, these people don't do it quite like I do it. Oh, yes. He doesn't do it like I do it. So now you burn bridges with support systems because they hate you, because they're like, every time I try to help the girl, she gets mad at me because I don't do it good enough anyway. So you lose support, and that really stinks. And if you're in business, you may notice that you have a very full plate of stuff. And that stuff could be delegated out, but you don't delegate it out because no one does.
That's a big one, I think, especially if you are somebody who's driven and somebody who's the superwoman, the A-type personality. Then you feel like, well, I have to be the one to make it because I can ensure I have the control. I think it's a control thing, right?
There definitely is control. And so many times I see women, I've done this myself. I actually finally get out the guts, I guess you can say, to delegate it out. And then I start micromanaging. And then that's even more.
It's worse.
I can't win. But you've got to trust people and delegate out, because getting that little crap. I don't know if I can say crap. Sorry, I said it.
That's okay. That's all right.
If you can get all of those little tedious things off of your plate, you will have more time for the bigger fulfillment in life.
And letting things go. I found that I have to let things go and move on. I found for me to focus on the next thing. Got to move forward. And so that keeps it. And not only does that keep it moving, but it also allows you to complete and feel that you've accomplished things. And feeling good is all about feeling that you are making progress.
Exactly.
I know that's really worked a lot for me. And but I think you're so right about delegating and then being able to let things go. I have someone who does my website for me, and she's a wonderful graphic artist. Her stuff is gorgeous and beautiful, and but I have the ability to update my site as well, and I'm very technical, so I tend to want to do that. And my book just came out, and so I wanted to put a new page for that, and I thought, I got to get to that, and then I realized, oh my gosh, she could do that, and so I gave it to her. She did it in like 30 seconds. Yeah. It would have taken me an hour or 2 hours, so.
Absolutely. We have to put value on our time. We have to be, and sometimes we get nervous asking, okay, I'll just do it myself. I don't want to bother.
I think that's it. I think it's I'll just do it because then it'll get done rather than, asking someone else.
Yeah.
So I think, when you say delegate, so do you have any tips for people on where people can delegate to or what things they can delegate?
Yeah, I think you can delegate to your children. I think you can delegate to your spouse. I think you can delegate to your employees.
I like the children one. That's really good. Yeah, because I realized, okay, so I sent my son out just yesterday to, what did he had to go to the store and go to the grocery store and pick some things up for me. And I was telling, well, now they've got the new thing where you can use your phone to scan in stuff yourself and use the discount card and all. I was explaining it to him. And so he goes there and everything got all mishmashed. And he said he felt like so incompetent because he didn't know how to do that. Then he went to the gas station and he put gas in and he spilled gasoline all over his shoes. And he was freaking out. And he comes up. I said, I feel so incompetent. He said, as an adult, I said, well, you're learning. And then I realized, one of the things is when we go out with him is we do it all and he just kind of follows us around. And what I need to do is I need to make him do it. Let him go and pay things at the grocery store, right? Let him go and when we go out and get gas, I'll watch you, but you got to do it.
Yes. And I love that you let him learn. Like, that's okay when people go to help you, whether you're asking the husband to go out and get the eggs or, someone to help you with the laundry, it's not going to be done perfectly, going back to perfection.
Yes.
So allowing them to learn, you had to learn. And once they learn, they're going to take that weight off of you.
Yeah. And I think what you said is really important, which is if they don't do it right, don't beat them up over it.
Yeah. Just like we don't want to be beat up when someone gives us something, and I really like something that you said about letting it go. Let the little things go. You don't have to harp on the fact that the husband brought home 12 eggs and they were all broken. Like, it's okay.
It's all right. We'll move on. We got to move on. That was the big thing, I think, for me was letting go and then being okay with it and saying, we got to move on to the next thing. Got to keep going, and then when you do that and you start accomplishing more and accomplishing things, you feel really good. And that starts to build in a different kind of conditioning for you. Well, we're at our half-hour mark. We'll go to break, and when we come back, we're going to tell everybody out there how you can get Dr. Jaime Kulaga's book.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of the Inspired Parenting radio show, where every week we bring you empowering information from the diverse fields of conscious parenting, education, neuroscience, consciousness, health, and metaphysics to support you in nurturing the best in your children. So if you're interested in understanding what shapes your children's minds, spirits, and hearts, join me every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and prepare to be inspired.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
And welcome back. You're listening to Between Heaven and Earth, Conscious Living for Your Soul. And we're on the OMTimes Radio Network. FM. We are in FM. High Def, and I'm Lisa Kay, and I'm sitting here with Dr. Jaime Kulaga, and she is just amazingly awesome. She's got such wonderful tips and procedures and things that you can do to live a better life and basically go through life and be able to be balanced and happy and get it all done. So we're at our half-hour mark, and we're going to talk about where you can find Dr. Jaime Kulaga's book. So first of all, her website is drjaimek.com. So that's drjaimek.com. And Jaime, so where can people get your book?
You can go to drjaimek.com and purchase it right from there. You can go to Barnes & Noble, barnesandnoble.com, Amazon, Books A Million. You can go in-store or online to purchase it.
Great.
Or you could drive over to India, the country, and
they can get it there, or Hungary. Yeah, you have to understand. You have to be able to read, I guess, Hindi. Oh, and you've got a bunch of really cool workshops that, now you're located in Florida, but do you go around like the country doing these things?
Yes, I do. And so we have, so I have the bigger workshops, the SuperWoman workshops, and the next one is going to be in Tampa in January. And then maybe, fingers crossed, California in March. So stand by. All the updates will be on drjaimek.com. But then for the women that can't travel or don't have the time to do so, we've actually created 15-minute to Fierce workshops, and it's a webinar, and it's 15 minutes for $15, and it launches next week, and you get 15 minutes of motivation and empowerment that will get you through your week to that next week where we'll do 15 more minutes together. So
and how many weeks is it?
We're actually going to do them ongoing throughout the year. So,
that's cool. So
yeah.
You basically pay for, one 15-minute segment at a time. Is that how that goes?
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
So you take, it's kind of a la carte. You get as much as you need.
I love it. That's
wonderful.
Exactly. I love it. A la carte. I'm going to have to, I'll give you 10% of all royalties.
Oh, absolutely. A la carte. That's great. And get her book. Her book is called The Superwoman's Guide to Super Fulfillment, Step-by-Step Strategies to Create Work-Life Balance. And after we do announcements, we'll ask Jaime if she could give us some more examples out of the book on things you can do today, because I want people who are listening to be able to put some things in place. And so far the things that she's been talking about, I know, are just absolutely wonderful. I have to go and write down my top life roles and see where I'm at with all that. So for me, if you want to reach me, you can get me at lmk88.com. And I teach people how to develop their intuition so they can make it happen when they want, on what they want, and get detailed information. And we've got a bunch of free videos out there on how to develop your intuition. You can get that sign up by going to intuitiononly.com or my website. There's a link there, lmk88.com. Sign up for my newsletter, and you'll get tips every month, plus a free e-doc on how to develop your intuition with 16 exercises that you can do at home. So that's what I have for me. Jaime, are there other things that you would like to share with people in terms of announcements?
Oh my goodness, in terms of announcements, no, I think that covers it. Just visiting the site, you'll see consistent ongoing updates and about all the different workshops and activities. Can
people sign up for a list of yours? Is there a place to do that on your website?
Yes, you can do that now on the website. We just have some new capabilities going in. So
cool.
It'll be great.
I'm going to do that. I will sign up.
Yay.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's get back. I think that one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about were 3 tips that you could give to women.
I love it. Yes, I've got 100, but I'll narrow it down.
I'll get the best 3.
Okay, so these tips not only will add fulfillment in your life, but they'll also help you get back time and energy. The first one I would say is rid of toxic people. So you want to create a list of all the toxic people in your life. These are the people that bring you up and bring you down, bring you up and bring you down. They back you into a corner, make you say yes when you want to say no. They plant seeds of doubt in your mind when you're going to go for a goal or a dream. They plant that seed that you end up growing, and you don't go for that goal and the dream. You want to either delete these people out of your life altogether, or you want to set boundaries with them.
Boundaries is good. I was going to ask you, what if you can't get rid of them?
Yeah.
You know, they're related to you.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where most of them come in. So there are some,
especially with Thanksgiving coming up. I'm sure we get to see a whole bunch of them, right? So what do you do?
Yeah. Okay. So you set boundaries. So start putting yourself first. Go ahead and start saying no. And remember one thing: kindness does not equal doormat. So you can say yes sometimes, but you don't have to say yes all the time. You are not a doormat. And so one of the things that I preach to every woman is, when you know your top life roles, you wake up in the morning and you know where your priorities should be, because when they're in balance, life is in balance. You're more apt to say no to everything else that comes your way. No, you know what? No, thank you. No, thank you. There's professional ways that we can say that. There's great ways that we can say no without being so guilty or being rude and disrespectful. But when you know what your priorities are, that's where you want to stay focused, because that's going to lead to life fulfillment.
What do you think about the statement that you could say as well? Let me look into it and I'll get back to you, and then give it some time, and then what do you say, no, or never get back? I don't know. Does that work?
You can actually increase your credibility when you say no. So let me give you an example of in the workplace. So Mike comes up to you and asks you to take on this project. You already have a full plate. You know you can't do it. A great way to respond to Mike would be like, hey Mike, thank you so much for bringing this project to me, thinking that I would be the best one to lead up your team. However, you deserve 100% on this project, and I know I can't give that to you right now with the obligations I have on my plate. So I have an idea. Let me go back to my computer. I have a bunch of resources, and I'm going to go ahead and send them to you to get you jump started. Or you can say, Maria has, down the hall, I know she's been working for an opportunity like this. Let me get in touch with her and see if I can connect you to. So
I like that.
You see what I'm saying? So you've afforded another woman or another person an opportunity, but in his eyes, you're the go-to person. You've decreased his anxiety by, okay, she's got something. But at the same time, he said, wow, this girl's got resources. She knows people. She's in the mix. Wow, you've increased your credibility.
And you've deflected and delegated successfully, hopefully.
Yes, exactly. And that's what we're trying to do. With emails, retreat, here's another tip.
Emails are the worst.
They are.
They're big time robbers.
They are. And so do a retreat, rethink, react. So in whether it's in relationships, it's with emails, it's in the workforce. Ladies, one of my tips to you is, please work on being less impulsive, because when we say yes, we're people pleasers. I get a smile on your face. Yes, great. But I walk away with more responsibility and less focus on my life roles. Whereas with no, the payoff is in the end. So I really, really encourage you to retreat, rethink, and react as your new decision-making process.
So how do you do that?
Yep. Okay, so walk away from the situation at hand.
What is that? Is that like in the email? Do you not answer it, or?
You can absolutely do that for a minute. So I used to get emails or text messages that would come in, and for some reason my mind triggers that must be instant. I must reply right then and there.
Yes, I do that.
Yeah, and walk away. Maybe even starting small by setting a time limit. Okay, an email just came in. I'm going to give myself 15 minutes before I respond to it. And give yourself time to rethink, which is the analysis phase. Hey, is this going to take me, off my life roles? Is this really an opportunity that's down the path I'm trying to go? Give yourself time to think about it. I get requests all the time for people that want to go out for coffee. And I'm sure they want to know more about my business and all that amazing, beautiful stuff. But the truth is I'll say to people, hey, listen, send me some information, send me your bio, let me read over it and see if I can, do something over email as opposed to, 30-minute drive to a coffee shop, sitting down for an hour and probably walking away with more responsibilities.
Oh, I like that. So you're not really, you're not slamming the door in their face, which is really, really a nice way to do it, so that you're still there. You're trying to do something, but you're not giving up all your time.
Yes, exactly. And I can't do that, especially at, people that even call for, hey, can you donate to this charity? Or, hey, can you sponsor this event? Hey, why don't you send me an email, let me review it, which gives me time to not be impulsive and just be like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Just to get them off the phone and then walk away with a ton of responsibility. I want them to do the legwork and then give me time to review it and process it.
And do you ever find that, I find that sometimes people are, they come to you because they want you to do it for them, and then when you kind of ask them to do a little legwork, then all of a sudden they don't have time.
You're right. You're right, and that weeds out what's really in your path. What's really smart to invest in or to go for. A lot of people are just coming to you because you have always been the go-to person.
Yes.
So today, we are no longer the go-to person.
Right.
Now.
So you said the retreat, rethink, and what was the third?
React. And last week, back and react. And in relationships, especially ladies out there, we often want to be right, or we're harping on the same issue. I do it, so I get it. I've done it, and I still do it sometimes. But when you just say, before I open my mouth, I'm going to walk away from this. Go in the bathroom, close the door, and rethink. But don't just rethink about being right in that moment. Think about the longevity of the relationship. Okay, where am I trying to get this relationship to go? Is it worth harping on this and fighting for the whole weekend about this one thing?
What I think happens is you get very emotional. And then when you're in your emotion, then you can't think straight.
You can't. And that's why you need to walk away from it. One of the activities that I play, if we don't have time, do we have time before commercial?
Yeah, we have 40 seconds.
Okay. All right. Well, there's just a quick activity that I play, a painting activity. And you know what? We probably don't have time to talk about it.
Well, what we could do? We could do it after our break.
It's a great activity.
These are all absolutely wonderful. So you've got, we went through, I don't even know if we got through all the 3 tips, but I know that we've got,
Two.
we talked about retreat, rethink, and react later. Right. So those are really wonderful. And, take that time to walk away. And I love what you have talked about is you're not slamming the door in people's faces. You're just basically retreating a little bit and thinking of another way to reswizzle what you can do for people. I think that's great. Well, we're going to go to break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to follow up with Jaime and do this exercise. It'll be really cool. All right. Stay with us.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM radio network.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Join Elliot Jolish, the business therapist, each Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern for the Elliot Jolish Hour, as he interviews business experts on your behalf. And you're invited to email your business questions to questions@ecjgroup.com for answers, live, on air every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Elliot Jolish Hour.
Matt Connerton here. Join Jen Coffee and I twice a week for Matt Connerton Unleashed, a political talk show that's a little different than what you're used to. No liberal or conservative agenda here, just an honest dialogue about truth and how things really work in the world of politics. Matt Connerton Unleashed, every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM radio network.
I'm here with Dr. Jaime Kulaga, who is giving us some amazing tips. I can't write them fast enough down on my paper, but I've got the book here. So the book for you out there listening is The Superwoman's Guide to Super Fulfillment. And she's got all great stuff in here. So Jaime, we were going to go over an exercise I believe you wanted to do with people.
Yeah, we were talking about relationships and the importance of retreat, rethink, react, which is walk away, then the analysis phase, which is rethink, and then go ahead and react. And, so many times you had brought up, we're so emotional in relationships. And
yes, exactly.
Yeah. So there's a painting activity that I play. So gotta use your imagination here with me. So we have this white piece of computer paper, and we have 8 different colors of paint. And I challenge my client to dip their paintbrush into one of the colors of the paint, and they're going to do this 8 different times for the 8 different colors, and you're going to blot your paper how big or small based on something that you said or did to your spouse that could have hurt the relationship. So maybe you called her fat one day, I don't know, or you yelled at him and you told him, I hate football, and he's like, oh my God. So you take the dab of the red and you make a little mark. It wasn't that bad, but maybe you did something really horrible to your spouse, and so you take the next color, and that's a big swipe, and then you did a bunch of little negative things, like maybe you called the divorce card all the time, or maybe one time there was a physical fight. So you take these colors and you make these blots. So now you've got this white piece of paper with 8 different blots on it, and I give you a wet rag, and I tell you, I want you to erase this, and I want you to get my paper back to white. And so you tell me it can't be done, and I tell you you're going to try anyway. So you try, and then you say, see, I told you, I can't get it back to white. And so what happens, and this represents a relationship, is that when you do something or say something to your spouse that is negative or hurtful, even if it's just in the moment, later when you regret that, no matter how many times you say you're sorry or work to show that you're sorry, you have stained the relationship in some capacity. So even though maybe it has faded in color or in memory, it's still stained the relationship. So it's just very important to retreat in the heat of the moment, because there's an opportunity there for you to say or do something that will last well beyond this weekend when you two get over it. And so it's just really something I teach couples is the retreat, rethink, react.
I think that's great. And, just so at least we can prevent going forward and not, I guess, staining that relationship and not being able to go back. But what do you say to people who feel like they've, their piece of paper is like all full of colors?
Yeah, well, we all have colors. We all have a piece of paper that is full of colors. None of us has been perfect in our marriage or our relationship. But
and vice versa, right? Because I guess our partners do it to us as well, right?
Yeah, they do, and I think they need to be aware of it. And one of the things that's great about Gary Chapman's book that we talked about earlier is that he does talk about the different communication styles. And we need to learn and understand how to listen and how to communicate, how to act and how to react according to our spouse's needs. And so you get that in the book, and I do. I just think it's important to take a step back and to analyze more than just the moment with your significant other.
Do you think it's important to know the difference between how women react and how men react?
Is it? Yes, absolutely, because we have different, and sometimes men are very quick to answer or quick to do something, and we take that as very cold or why are they just very one-worded? Maybe that's just the way that person is, and they're not seeing anything wrong with it, and vice versa.
Or that women cry, they get sad, and men get angry.
Yeah, and one thing that's really is very interesting too is oftentimes I see men come into my office and they're very angry, and when you work on anger management techniques with them, it's not working. Well, that's actually not the underlying problem.
Oh,
it's
really?
actually anxiety. So women, we tend to bite our nails and go in the bathroom and cry, and we're huffing and puffing sometimes. And that's our anxiety overwhelmed and coming out. But men don't do that. And maybe it's for society purposes. They're not breaking down and crying and gossiping in the way that we do. So they actually, their anxiety comes out as anger. And until we can identify what their anxieties are and try to minimize them, that anger isn't going down. But for those of you that might be tuning into something right now, try to identify what your man's what could be anxious about. Try to minimize that and see if his anger goes down.
So you can kind of work through the process and see what works well for you. I think also men, I find and I've heard that men feel that it's their job to take care of, the family, but that also means that they have to fix problems. So, and I think women tend to we like to be heard, and we just want to get things out, and it's not that we want to fix it. We just need to vent, right?
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that different balance? The husband's trying to fix and the woman's just trying to, let her heart out and express herself.
Yeah, well, there's a couple things. One is encouraging for on the male side of things, encouraging to open up when he does open up. As a woman, not always biting back, not always telling him why he's wrong or why it's not working his way. Maybe just let him talk and be a little bit more accepting of that. Sometimes they'll come to us and they'll talk about their bad day, and we try to top it with, oh, you think that? Wait until you hear what I had to go through today. The kids were da-da-da-da-da, and then Macy was calling on the phone and blah, 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 blah.
Why do we do that? Why do people do that?
Maybe it's just to top the story.
Or is it I feel like, okay, you had a bad day, but I'm not feeling good either. So is it underneath we're wanting the support?
It could be, but I think in a relationship we need to give support both ways. So validate what they're going through.
That's a good one, yeah.
Maybe not always complaining about your side of things, maybe seeing the bright side in your day, but allowing him, I think, to vent and not being so critical so that he does want to open up to you is probably a good start, because men do have a lot of pressure on them, especially when we marry the super guy like you were talking about.
Yes.
They're not just in the business, they're raising the family too, and it's equal pressure.
Yes. I think that's, there's a lot on their shoulders, especially I think it's genetic. I think it's just there's something about the male biology, that they take on everything and feel like they have to be the fixers. Now, you talk about SMART goals in the book. Do you have time to talk about what those are and how we use those?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you set goals, you want to set SMART goals. And SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So you want to set a goal. Let's say I wanted to lose weight. So the new year's coming up and I say, I want to lose weight. That's not specific and measurable. So I decrease my chances of actually achieving that goal. Let's make it more specific and measurable. So I might say something like, I want to lose 15 pounds by March 15th, 2016. That's very specific, and I can measure it based on the time. You also want to be realistic. So if I want to lose 15 pounds by next week, I am setting myself up for failure. If I want to go back for my master's degree, and I've got 2 kids and I'm a single mom and I'm living paycheck to paycheck, I probably can't get that master's degree in the normal 2 years. Maybe it's going to take me 4 years. Start your foot off being very realistic. And realistic goes just beyond setting a realistic goal into don't compare yourself to others. So that same single mother of 2 going back for the master's degree, she should not compare herself to a single girl straight out of her bachelor's degree whose mom is funding her program. She has no kids and no spouse. Right. And we do that. We often keep up with the Joneses or compare ourselves to the media or people that we know. And we set ourselves up for failure instantly when we set the goal because it's just not realistic for our lifestyle. So really trying to set specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based goals.
So I think the measurable part might be a little bit difficult. Even in, I guess, so would it be like attaining that degree, or would you make it something a little bit smaller, like saying, well, I'm going to complete XYZ course, or 2 courses with it?
That's a great question. So you want to have an overall goal, an overall vision. So, hey, I do want to get my master's degree within the next 4 years. But now you want to set smaller goals. So maybe your goal right now, so I know that I want to get my master's by, 2018. Okay, great. But, excuse me, maybe you want to go and fill out the application at grad school by January 31st, 2016. So it's setting smaller goals.
So it's the steps that you're taking to get there, because it can be quite overwhelming, or some things are, I guess if you say, well, I want to be the happiest I'll ever be, in the next 6 months, that's not very measurable. Maybe I'll do 3 things that make me happy.
Yes, maybe I'll do some things off my bucket list. Maybe I'll...
Oh, I love that.
So
that's great. So SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. I put those out on the Facebook page, and you can go check those out there. And Jaime, we are at the end of our show. Can you believe it? How fast that went?
No, we are not. Don't we have it? Come on.
You're going to have to come back. Come back. This is so good. There's so much we can get into. I absolutely love it. I'm having a blast here, and I'm writing notes furiously and reading a book. Yay. So you can reach Jaime at drjaimek.com. And also go out there, purchase her book. It's awesome. Superwoman's Guide to Super Fulfillment. Thank you, Jaime, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Come back. Yeah. You've been listening to Between Heaven and Earth on OMTimes Radio Network, and we are here every Wednesday at 4 p.m. So join us again. I'm Lisa Kay. You can get me at lmk88.com. See you next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.